Hey everyone, this is Connor with Housebang.com. We're here for another real estate talk. I think this is a super good one. We're going to be talking about the New York City broker bill that's going on right now. And essentially what it is it's a bill that is currently underway through, it hasn't been passed yet or anything. It's currently up for discussion right now, where it limits the tenants, right, the renters, from paying the listing agent fees for a rental. So like imagine you're looking for an apartment, a landlord is leasing an apartment, you see it on like Zillow or something, maybe you look, you're like, I think this is a good apartment, I'm gonna go look at it. The agent shows it to you, you're like, I think I'm ready to move on this, let me go through the application process. You go through the application process, and then included in your move-in cost is that fee for that listing agent that the landlord hired. And the argument for the bill that a lot of these people are proposing, right, who support the bill, is that the landlord was the one that hired them. Why should the renter have to pay it? And the thing is, the question I think it really comes down to is if it's properly disclosed in the contract that this is what you're paying for. I think disclosure is huge in this, right? If it's properly disclosed in the moving in cost, this amount is going to the listing agent. Should it be illegal, right? Should it be illegal? Should it be against the law if properly disclosed? And it's a tough question because the real estate industry it's probably like one of the most regulated industries out of like anything, right? I mean, there's so many different industries that are less regulated than the real estate industry. And a lot of people are saying that if these fees are not being paid in the move-in cost. So let's say there's a landlord and he or she typically charges a portion of the move-in cost for the listing agent's fees. If that's illegal now, our rent's just going to go up. So is he or she going to say, "Oh, I'm not allowed to charge the listing agent's fee in the move-in cost. Now I'm just going to raise the monthly rent to make up for that." And I think even Mayor Adams of New York City talked about it and discuss that a lot of it may just, people are going to finagle their way around it, right? And there's a lot of ways to do that. That's the thing. It's tricky because there's a lot of ways that you can move around it where, I'm not going to charge move-in costs. I'm not going to charge them my move-in costs, but now all of a sudden this apartment is $100 more a month, right, for a year lease. And the question, should it be illegal? And it's a huge debate right now. I think it's something to stay really in the loop. Of course, it's really applicable to New York City right now. But a lot of times with legislation like this, right, it goes from New York City, and next thing you know, you might see it pop up in another city, depending on the result of it. And I think it's super interesting in a concept. The tricky part is, do we make it illegal? If it's disclosed in writing that, and very transparent and made clear that, part of your moving costs is for the listing agent's fees, just a heads up before you sign anything, you commit to anything, should that be illegal? And the best comparison that I could find for this, we'll go ahead and pull this up too, would be, it's pretty similar to this. So the argument is that a lot of people are making, it's like, I never really picked out this agent, why am I having to pay for him? And the most similar thing is to, like, have you ever been to like a store? It could be any store, and then they charge a certain percentage higher for like Amex cards, where they're like, our payment provider charges a fee for Amex, so it's going to be more expensive for you. That's very similar to this. So if you're at the store and you have to pay more because you're using an Amex card because the store's payment provider charges more for Amex, then you could say the same situation where, why am I having to pay more because I didn't pick your payment provider. Why am I having to pay more for my Amex card? And I think that's that's probably like the closest I could think of in a comparison for that. And it's tricky because it's not illegal in other industries, right? I mean, that's, they're not arresting anybody. They're not charging or fining anybody at stores for charging more for Amex cards. And even though it's their payment provider, right? Why would I have to pay this percentage more because your payment provider, that's the rules for your payment provider. I didn't pick them. And I think that if it's disclosed, should it be illegal? Because the bottom line is, right, we all have free choice. That's just the bottom line. We have free choice. If I walk into a store and I find out that they charge more for an Amex card, I have the choice to walk out, right? I don't have to buy from the store if I know they're going to charge me more. And I think that's a challenge. That's the challenging part with this, right? If you have the ability to walk away, it's properly disclosed, hey, we charge, and whether it's, even the question is, right, there's a question of like reasonable, like right and wrong, and then like morally, and then also what should be like illegal against the law, right? There's a lot of things that are, not, I wouldn't necessarily do myself, but it's not against the law. I don't think, they should be arresting people for it. Should it be against the law? I don't know. I don't believe it's right, but there's, with a lot of things, but it, should it be illegal? That's a whole different situation. And that's the thing, right? It's free. If it's properly disclosed, should it be illegal? If you go to rent an apartment and then your landlord goes to, right? I guess you're looking for an apartment. The landlord says, okay, here's your move-in cost. FYI, this amount is going to the listing agent. Do you still want to rent this apartment? You have the ability to walk away from that situation. No one, you have free will. You can walk away and find somebody that doesn't, because it's not mandated that they do that. You can, right, try to do your best to find somebody that doesn't, or maybe even it be negotiable. You can say, I really like this apartment. I'm not comfortable paying those fees. I will sign a year lease. I'll sign even a longer lease. But the bottom line is I'm not comfortable with those fees. And that's perfectly, everybody has the right to do that. And I think everybody should have, the ability to negotiate with that. I think that's super important in our marketplace. But the question, right, should that be illegal for someone for that whole transaction, for any of money to go towards this broker, right? The listing agent hired by the landlord. Should it be illegal if properly disclosed? Right, it's up for debate. And I think we just wanted to talk about that today. It's really important. We might start to see it pop up in other cities as well. I always like to keep these talks like unedited. Of course, that means, I'm not able to just stop it and then, get everything completely perfect, but I think it makes it more organic and interesting that way, kind of more like a conversation. But let me know what your thoughts are regarding this bill. Would it be beneficial to everybody, or would it be more harmful and lead to higher rent cost and, more restrictions on an already really very regulated marketplace?